Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Today's question of the day is, should I tip when I go on a cruise? I know what my answer is. What is your answer? Now, it's one of those questions that if you ask 15 different people, you will get 15 different responses. And for those who maybe don't cruise or don't know a lot about cruising, gratuity information, let me give you a bit of a background. So, when you cruise, you are given the option to pay your gratuities in advance, pay when you get on the ship, or, and many people don't know, you can opt out of your gratuities on most major cruise lines. I think there's like only one cruise line I know that does not give you the option to opt out. But when you get on the ship, if you choose, you can opt out of the gratuities. Now, the most common options that people go for are either they pay the gratuities and do not tip additionally when they get on board. They figure they're free, they're set, they've done their part. And the thought process behind this is like, listen, I've given what the cruise line has recommended, and it's going to get to the people who it needs to get to. Now, the thought process that people use against this is that, the high salaried people get the most, and the little people who do the bulk of the work or the most labor intensive work get the bare minimum. Which leads me to my second point. The next option that people choose is to opt out of the gratuities that the cruise line imposes and to tip on their own. They tip their room steward, they tip the dining staff, they tip, the everyday people who they come in contact with. Now, the thought process on this is that, what about the people behind the scenes who you don't see? The cook, the chef, the people who you don't necessarily get to see and who also work really hard. So those are some discrepancies with that. Then you have this third group of people. They don't tip with the cruise line and they do not tip on their own. And their logic is, I've paid my cruise fare. Somehow, some way, they should be able to pay their staff based on the cruise fare. So, my question for you is, which group do you fall into? Or is there another group that I've missed that you fall into? Questions that need answers. Here is how this question came to mind. I will be attending a cruise. I'll be going on a cruise this weekend. And I'm doing the online pre-check-in, and it asked me if I wanted to prepay my gratuities, which I never do. And I'll also tell you the group that I fall into. I fall into the group of people who do not pay gratuities with the cruise line, but I will tip on my own accord. And I will say this, the amount that I tip on my own far, far, far exceeds what the cruise line recommends. And that's no shade, that's no judgment, that's no anything to anyone who does otherwise. And I'll just explain to you my logic. So let's say I'm on a 7-day cruise. I'll tip my steward about $150. And that's just because I don't consider myself to be somebody overly demanding. In fact, there are days where I'm just like, you know what, we're good today. Just leave the room as is, because maybe I don't feel like putting my bra away and I just feel like, just leave, so the most I'll do is maybe ask for extra towels, ask for extra washcloths, because I'm on vacation and I feel like I need a fresh towel and washcloth for every single shower because there's sand in my butt crack or there's chlorine or, there's just something, But I'm just like, listen, these people are taking care of me and my son. It's like, I just want to show them my appreciation. I guess that's the best way I can say it. When I go to dinner, we tip the wait staff, and I do that daily because maybe I'll go to a different venue the next night, whatever. And how much I tip the wait staff depends on how many of us there are. So if it's just, let's say, my sister, her husband, myself, and my son, we may do $30 or $40. If it's just myself and my son, we may do $15, $20. And it's not every cruise that I have a lot of money. Sometimes I'm just like winging it. Sometimes I really have to just give 10 just to make it from one day to the next. So that's my thought process. So and one day I will tell you like how I just dropped a whole bunch of money. My first cruise, I dropped a bunch of money just doing stupidness. But that's a conversation for another time. But going back to the original question, like, what's your thought process on tipping? Because maybe I'm doing it one way and maybe you're just like, you're a cheap bastard. Because I do know people who are like, let's tip on top of the prepaid gratuities. And I can't fault them for that, but I guess I'm just not there financially yet because they don't want to forget the people who they don't see, who they don't get an opportunity to come in contact with. And I definitely respect that. That's why I say this is not a one-size-fits-all conversation. This is just, I guess, a curious dialogue. Let me know what you think.